I am number one, not number two. If I'm not the one, I'm uncomfortable. See the competition I've been running through. Leveled up, I only see him in my rear view. Yeah, I'm balling. Yeah, I'm balling.
And then it's just like, you just kind of marathon and see as much of it as you can get done until the prep. Because like, they put their, at least for this video, they put their prep like a week before we were actually planning on shooting. So they only brought us in, they're like, here's the list, get it all done. Whatever you don't get done, we have a week to finish this on our own until the video actually shoots. So this one was actually a little bit different than a lot of the other times we've gone out there, but it was awesome. It was a really
cool.
good time.
That's cool.
That's cool. Have you done any TV?
I would love to.
A little bit,
stuff?
yeah.
Like
Episodic.
live TV or
I haven't done too
episodic?
much
Reality.
live.
reality?
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
I used to do a little bit of reality, some
Yeah.
like MTV reality shows back in LA. But
Yeah.
Like Jersey Shore.
So I didn't do Jersey Shore, but some stuff like that.
I would love to be on one of those shows.
I'd love to
Could
be on
you
a show where like it's my job to egg the people on and like bring the worst out of them, and like that's what I'm supposed to do. Like sign me up, I'm here for
If
it.
I could have a
Pushing alcohol.
Yeah.
if I could have a
more.
contract where they're like paying you to like try to piss this person off and film it, that'd be awesome.
That's a lot of reality shows are. Yeah. Try to see, think of the worst of you.
The behind the scenes of some of them are like so bad when you hear like the producers like stirring the pot
Yeah,
to like,
exactly.
the people,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like not even true. It's like,
Yeah.
how do people sign up for that?
Producers will just go up to someone and be like, "Hey, did you hear that what this person said about you?" And they just
Yeah.
kind of egg on the.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
like,
the dating shows are the
100%.
worst, right? Because
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
they have to be like, oh, you like Stephanie. Well, we're going to hold Stephanie off until the last episode and make you
Right.
like. So yeah, that's even worse because it's designed to play with everyone's emotions. Like,
Right.
oh gosh, those are awful.
Bachelor, is it scripted?
Is it scripted? I don't
Not
think it's
scripted.
scripted, but it's definitely like
Orchestrated.
Yeah.
Are they
pre-thought
hired
out.
actors?
Orchestrated.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
word.
orchestrated.
Are they hired actors? Is it fake?
No.
I don't think what you're working with is actually like on-screen talent. I think there's regular people, but they're being
Yeah.
coached on how to be the most dramatic
For
or how to bring
sure.
out
Yeah,
this and that.
absolutely.
And it's, I'd also say it's probably heavily edited. Really, is what we're. Is,
Yeah.
I'm
How
still
much about
convinced in
film
my
is one
mind they're
thing?
hired actors and it's all fake.
Yeah, I don't think they're hired actors, but I do think
You
that I think that they
You
already
think real
know.
people? You think multiple people are deciding to date one person and then marry them?
Yeah, I know people that have been on the show.
I mean, they're getting paid to be on the show.
Yeah.
So they're.
They're getting
They're-
paid to date
they're-
me, so I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, so they're
No,
not
I'm on
necessarily paid
I'm on this
actors,
like
but they're-
kick right now with these types of shows. Mur's obsessed with Love Is Blind and all these.
Oh yeah.
You know, huh? Jess is obsessed with it too.
No, but yeah, I know plenty of.
Chris is like, no, but I am.
but like I know.
Oh, have
I'm
you
a big
heard
fan.
Hallmark's doing a reality
No.
TV show here?
Is it a love show,
Here?
like a reality?
Yeah, they're doing it here. It's like well, it's not like a dating show,
Mm.
but I heard it's
Scoop this up.
men competing to be like the next like love interest on a Hallmark movie. So it's all
Interesting.
yeah.
It's kind of funny.
I think it's called
actually.
Hallmark Hunks, and they're all
Hallmark hunks. This is
Oh,
awesome.
my gosh.
Every
We gotta get
mom
on
in
this.
Utah is going to love
Right.
this show. I can already tell you that.
This is gonna hit.
so the
That's
the
bad.
next stars of the Hallmark will be competing.
Interesting.
You know, honestly, other shows would probably save a lot of money on their like auditioning and their talent screening process. So
By
they're like,
making a show
let's
out
just
of it?
have
Yeah.
a giant
Yeah.
skee ball tournament, and whoever wins the skee ball tournament's the next bachelor. Like
Yeah.
just something like that to save all the time from talking to people. Like that's exhausting.
It just blows my mind that people put their fate in reality TV's hands. Like, it seems like the most unreliable thing to put your fate into.
But are these people after money or actually love? Because I don't think they're actually after love.
I don't
If
know.
that's
Yeah,
the
I
case,
don't
then
know.
yeah, it's true.
Some
That
of
would be-
them, I don't know.
How many of these relationships actually last after?
That's
show?
the
Yeah.
statistic we
Yeah,
need.
I
wanna
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
these
We'd have to look that
statistics.
up
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, let's jump into it. We got Chris here. We've been
What's up, everybody?
How's it
We've
going,
been
guys?
wanting. Oh, we're already in it. We're in it now. But we got Chris here. We've been wanting Chris in this podcast for a long time. We've been
thanks
reaching
for-
out. He's a busy man. He's
I
working
know.
a lot.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad things finally slowed down enough for me to have some time. So
That's great.
That was
for having
great.
me
Chris, tell us about yourself. Who you are,
yeah.
what do you do,
Where do you come from?
where are you from?
What is it, Chris?
I'm a first AC, local to Utah now, but I came from the Northwest. Grew up in Vancouver, Washington. Not that
You
I
grew up in
s-
Washington?
Yeah,
I didn't know
so-
that.
Yeah.
And then
I got questions now.
but until about a year ago, I was in LA for 14 years, I want to say.
Wow.
So I was out there for a little
So
bit.
you called LA home for a while?
Yeah.
and then Utah, and
Beaches
then
are nice.
Utah.
Yeah, how'd you get from LA to Utah?
Started working out here. Got my first job out here was with Scooter.
Nice.
That's how we met.
We did a movie, and I was like, "Yo, you're a Utahn. You're not in LA yet." Like he literally like dresses like Charles and I. He's very active. He's like,
You guys want to go rock climbing afterwards?
He's a snowboarder, like or skier, like
I
way.
grew up in the mountains, so
Yeah.
it kind of felt like home to me. And
Yeah.
I
And
feel
And
like
he's
I
here for
fit
the
in here.
movie, and he's
Yeah.
talking about like how he wants to do all this fun stuff. And then I'm like, "You're gonna go back to LA? Like, bro." I was like, "You have to move here." And then lucky for us, Jess just swooped him up, brought him to
Met
Utah.
my girlfriend out here, and then the rest is history.
Thank you, Jess.
That must have been, because we've talked extensively about how the markets for film are significantly different from LA to here. So adjusting
For
your
sure.
career, how was that?
Good question.
Honestly, I feel like I really lucked out. Like I met a lot of good people, like Scooter, who introduced me to producers and a lot of other filmmakers out here. So I feel like I got busy pretty fast.
Nice.
I was like, don't give me the credit though. Chris is like the perfect example about what we talk about on this podcast as far as getting yourself out there, meeting people in the industry, networking, and like you definitely, I would say you've been here almost 2 years.
Officially about a year, but yeah, I was going
But you're
back and
jumping
forth
back
for a
and
couple
forth.
of years. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say in 2 years you definitely were able to like understand the Utah market, figure out a lot of the key players, get yourself in a lot of the key positions. You're on a lot of the big shows, and like that is the example that we say all the time on this podcast as far as getting yourself out there and finding that work.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like we all in this industry have to have that approach to it, whether it's here or LA. Like,
I feel like
especially-
LA
Totally.
is probably a little worse, right? Like I mean,
Yeah,
we
especially
talk about,
starting out. Like if you don't have family in the industry, it's a lot of work to get networked. And
So let's
get in
jump
the
back a little
industry.
bit. You're from
Yeah.
Washington. You
Yeah.
grew up in Washington.
Grew up in Washington.
Did you go to film school?
I did. I went to Biola University. It's a small, like, private college down in close to LA, like down near La Mirada.
Nice. So
California.
that's what brought you to California.
Yeah.
Okay.
Went to film school, got my degree, and then after that, I started working at Panavision. That was kind of my
Sick.
foot into the
So
camera
you just
world.
kind of got like
Just
one of the
casually.
best jobs out of film school ever. Just casually worked at
Yeah.
Panavision.
One of my good friends from Biola who graduated before me, he got a job there, and he was really instrumental in like getting me a job there. And that was kind of my start.
That's awesome.
cool.
What'd you do at Panavision?
Well, I kind of
And
worked
for
my
people
way.
who don't know, what is Panavision?
Panavision is one of the premier camera rental houses, not just in LA, but in the world. They have offices around the world. I'm sure a lot of film enthusiasts, you'll see their logo at the end of the credits on tons of movies.
You even see people wearing like Panavision jackets and
Oh, yeah.
merch, and like
Yeah.
it's kind of just a statement in the cinema world.
Yeah, for sure.
And so
They're-
these days it's a lot more glass, right? I think back in
Yeah.
the day it was a lot more cameras, but
Yeah, now
nowadays
it's
glass.
mostly glass that they're known for. But as far if you're going to be shooting film, it's either Panavision or Arri
Yeah.
or IMAX. But yeah, Panavision for a long time was the premier like film camera. But now it's all their glass for the most part.
Yeah.
I could only imagine the experiences you get to working at Panavision right out of film school. It probably like, I mean, you kind of the same. You worked at Enigma, like
That's true.
it like
But it wasn't
opened.
Panavision. They're in LA.
I agree. But like it opens your world to understand of like the market and
Oh,
like
yeah.
what the film world is. It took me so many years to understand like there's $100,000 cameras. Like
Right.
people spend $300,000 on lenses. Like what is this? You know? So
Yeah.
that's
No,
cool.
it was,
People don't, but
Companies do. Which people own companies, Charles.
I guess so.
No, companies are just faceless entities. They just exist.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm just
Well, I had a question. So, because one of the things we've also talked about too is how around here, some of the film schools don't do an awesome job really getting their students onto sets or onto those
Yeah.
jobs. How was that for you? Did your film school kind of help? You said a friend helped you get that Panavision. Was
Yeah.
your school involved in that transition, or how was it like right out of film school, basically?
A little bit, because through our film program, you have to do an internship as part of your requirements. And so I chose Panavision to do my internship, and so that was helpful in getting me that job. So
That's cool.
Yeah. As far as like getting people on sets, they did have like school sponsored like short films and that kind of thing. And obviously you learn the most actually getting on set and doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as from like a film school, the value of film school perspective, I would say like if you're able to just get out there and get on set like immediately, I think that's the best education you can possibly have. Film school was great in the sense of helping me figure out what I wanted to do and then introducing me to the people that were working in the industry and got me my first jobs. So it was a good stepping stone coming from Washington and not really knowing anybody
Especially
in
in
California.
California,
Yeah.
it's like that's the market. Like
Yeah.
there's
Absolutely.
huge population there. How do you just like figure it out? And I think that's a perfect
Right.
example.
Yeah. It was a good buffer between college and the real world, trying to figure out how to get into the industry.
That's freaking cool. So what in LA, or what brought you to LA and said, I want to work on movies? And what was that experience? Did you jump in like right into ACing, or did you jump in as a PA? Like what were your first days on set?
I mean, I kind of jumped straight into ACing, at least as far as like college projects. I went into film school not really knowing what I wanted to do, and then friends and like school projects needed ACs, and I was just like, well, that sounds interesting. I'll try it out, and immediately fell in love with like the technical aspect of camera assisting, and yeah, decided that was kind of my career path that I wanted to seek.
I freaking love
That's
it.
cool.
I'm learning so much about Chris right now.
Yeah. That's why he's here.
Charles with the sass, I swear.
I
We gotta
know.
put like a tip jar every time Charles says something
I've-
sassy. He's got to put $1 in it or
I've
something.
been
Or
on,
every time I get bullied. I guess you
a bully jar.
yeah, you've been on the other end of the spear recently, though. We've been picking on you kind of.
Oh, yeah?
I was thinking about that. Like,
Have I?
yeah, I was like, maybe we should take it easy on Charles.
I don't know. I think we can make fun of anyone.
You think it's good?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think
Bring
put
it
some
on.
hair his chest.
What was the first movie you ever stepped on set?
First movie.
Or TV show. What was the first like
Narrative
paid gig that
project,
you
yeah.
did?
Yeah.
I feel like probably paid gig because I probably started in like the music video sphere, and then did some like paid short films, and but my first feature I ever did was, oh god, it's been a long time. It was like a little indie movie. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Everything blends together these days.
This little film called The Matrix. Maybe you've heard of it.
No, it was a little indie movie. I think it did well in like the festival sphere. But yeah, that was pretty early on. So I feel like I started doing features pretty early on in my career, like small indie movies, but kind of fell in love with like the narrative market.
What do you like more, commercial or narrative?
I love the commercial money, but I love features.
Let's jump in that. We were kind of just talking about that. What is the difference to someone who wants to maybe look at doing more commercial work or like long narrative work? I mean, for me, I like the idea of shooting feature films for the idea of, I feel like you meet a family on set, you get really
for
close
sure.
over that long period of time. And then as far as like the gear and breakdown, you're kind of like building a kit and it's getting you through that whole project, where commercial, it's like one day of building, one day of shooting, one day of tear down, and then you're done. And like I like that, like really investing time into my camera build and like building it out. But what do you like more?
I love features for a lot of the reasons you mentioned. You kind of become family with your crew.
Oh yeah, it's sad at the end of a movie.
It is.
I get sad. Maybe I'm
But it's
emotional,
also a lot more creative. Like I like the storytelling of like feature filmmaking versus commercial. I don't know. It's just I feel more invested in it. Like but you also like you'll spend a while prepping, but then as soon as you start shooting, like you're part of hopefully part of something that you would enjoy watching at the end, like a product that you would be proud of.
Do you remember the movie we did with Sasha and how confused I was throughout the whole entire movie. Do you guys remember that? As far as
I
like
do remember
watching a story take place, we were shooting this movie, and Chris and I were ACing on the cameras. Charles was operating, and I didn't understand the story for the life of me. Everyone's like, read the script, and I'd read the dailies before, but I didn't know who was who was dead, who was alive.
It was pretty funny.
What
day we
explaining
were
to
in,
you what was going
what
on.
actor she
Psychological
was.
thriller that we're shooting out of order, so
Yeah,
trying to
right.
piece together the story.
With multiple person. Yeah, it was just, yeah. It was
We
a
can't
lot.
give it away. The trailer just came out yesterday.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, we'll put a link into it
Yeah.
so people can watch it. But yeah, it looks good.
It is
It looks
freaking
really good.
awesome.
This looks good. The story doesn't.
Yeah, I'm
The
interested.
story leaves
to-
much to be desired. Let's say that. But as far as
Yeah.
like what we did and what
Seems to be the
Graham
trend.
did, like
Right.
it looks
I mean,
great.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I'm very excited. I've shot a few movies where I've been like excited for it, but this is one where like if it were in theaters, I'd go see it.
Yeah.
Is it in theaters?
No, it's
I
Paramount
think
Plus.
yeah.
Oh. Dang it.
But yeah, I'm curious to see how it all came together.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like, yeah.
I bet the editors were so confused. That would be the hardest movie to edit. Unless I'm just the only one that was confused.
I mean, I read the script too, and I was also confused.
Okay, good. I thought Chris was about to say, well, I read the script and actually did my job, but
She knew what was going on, Scooter.
hey,
Yeah,
listen.
no, I'm sure. Yeah, editing's the final draft of the script usually, so I'm curious to see how it all.
How it kind of meshed
Totally.
together.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
the funnest part about our job, though, is we get to see all the story like come together, and it's always the best in that final week where you're like filming stuff and you're like, oh, that's how they got here, or like that's how this happened.
Right.
Don't they say that like a story is written 3 times? Once by the scriptwriter, once being filmed, then another time when it's being edited.
Right.
Yeah.
They can technically have literally completely different versions of the story for each
100%.
phase.
That
So
just
what goes
happened,
on, what goes, to the edits, not necessarily anything that was on the paper at all.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's part of the process. Like,
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yep. I have a question for you, Chris, which from an LA perspective, maybe you have like a little bigger world than what we do here in Utah. But how has the change in technology affected your job? Or I don't know
Especially
how
from
long you've
Panavision.
been pulling focus. Did you start with like a Bartek kind of a thing? Were you
Yeah.
background in those days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Started with Bartex.
Okay.
Sorry, what's
And
a
not just-
Bartek? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So
Bartek is it's basically a Preston, but it's a single channel system. It's like the pre-nucleus.
Okay.
It's very similar in that regard. It's just a
yeah, and they
but it's a true single channel.
yeah, they had crappy.
What came first, that or the Teradek and...
I think
Oh,
it was Preston and Bartek. I feel like
Or what came first,
Yeah.
Preston or Bartek?
Preston.
So Preston was like
Preston,
the
I'm
leading
pretty
in
sure
that.
Hand,
was
you know?
the very first. Like
Preston
remote.
was they were definitely the very first ones because
cool.
their frequencies that they transmit on actually used to be military frequencies
Oh, wow.
because we talk about this all the time, but like with the World War ended and then everybody didn't have anything to do and so like a lot of guys
Cameras are guns, yeah.
Right.
yeah, exactly. And so a lot of guys started working in the film industry, and so a lot of the technology that we have comes from
Yeah, like the
military.
gearheads come from a lot
Gearheads,
of those
turrets.
I was
yeah,
like,
turrets.
fun fact, yeah, the turret heads, and then our dollies are pretty much the exact same
bomb
build
lifters.
Yep.
as the bomb listers. They just put a
Right.
Mitchell head
Yeah.
on it, but that's what would lift the missiles into the planes or tanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so that's where the frequencies came from for Preston. That's why Preston is like just rock solid and like doesn't lose connection and it can go for a really long time
frequencies.
for miles is because Preston they bought those channels, those frequencies from the military
Never mind.
when the war
Right.
ended is what happened. And so that's why
That's really smart.
they're the best
Yeah.
as far as that's concerned.
Still are
Yeah.
the best
yeah.
in terms of their frequencies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I started pulling off the barrel, which I kind of miss.
Yeah. Okay.
Even during the time of all the remote
I
focus.
love pulling
Yeah.
off the barrel. There's something about, I know, not to sound weird, but being right next to your operator and being able to like communicate with them, and then like you're creating the shot together. I feel like you're more involved.
For sure.
Totally.
Yeah, you feel more part of the action.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's also a better place to learn if you're like just starting out as a focus puller, because it's much easier to judge distance if you're
Yeah.
right next to the camera, right next to the action.
Totally.
So I feel like anybody who's wanting to start out learning how to pull focus, I think that was a great place to start.
Yeah.
This is admitting my, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but before I started pulling focus and like knowing what ACing and all the positions were, I was in LA and I put on a cinema lens on my brother-in-law's Red. Before I even knew like any of that stuff, I thought it was so cool that you could like turn the lens and stuff would be like blurry and then not blurry. And so,
deep blurred.
I have a whole YouTube video short film. I think I've shown it to you of me when I'm like 17 or 18 years old and I'm holding this camera and my whole video is just me shooting like plants and flowers and and I put it to all this music and I thought I was so cool that I could like show this flower like out of focus and then in focus. And like I go back and watch that and I'm like, I am so dumb. It's the simple of like just pulling off the lens. Like I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have admitted that.
That's pretty funny, actually.
No, I like it.
That's fun.
I like it. And when you are pulling off the barrel, you don't have like a monitor for yourself, right? You're either looking off of the operator's monitor or just using your eyes to judge the distance.
Yeah, early on, yeah, that
Wow.
was how I pulled a lot of the time, especially on low budget stuff.
That's
that
like a
couldn't
dead skill to
afford,
me.
like,
I don't
a
think many
second
people.
monitor.
Yeah. Hats off to, I will say, like, I've done it a few times in panic situations, but I'd never rely on myself in that situation, nor do I think I had the skill set to just purely pull without a monitor, just like, just raw.
Yeah.
But nothing is cooler than seeing, like, some of those OG dudes, like, behind the scenes of Wolf of Wall
Sure.
Street.
Yeah.
I forgot the gentleman's name of the first AC on that film, but he didn't use a monitor the whole movie. He
Yeah.
just has his hand unit, and he watches the camera and watches the actors. And never references
Insane.
anything, which is so
Right.
cool.
No,
So
it's
cool.
pretty impressive to watch a lot of the guys on film pull.
Would you ever do a movie without any monitor, just hand unit and go for it?
I would, especially film. Like you kind of
Kind of have to.
Have
do
to.
that.
There's a difference too. Like
Yeah.
people don't
But
quite
it's more
understand.
forgiving
Like,
with
film
film.
is like more forgiving
for sure.
in that aspect.
Yeah, typically.
Yeah.
And you
Um,
can, I would set up safety nets with f-stop if pulling with film in that. To know that I have,
Yeah.
You're not going to be
Yeah,
wide
If the-
open.
If the DP lets you.
if the
That's
DP
true.
let
Yeah.
you. But like if I didn't have a monitor, I would push for that. But
Totally.
Yeah. Hopefully, you're working with a DP who understands that on film you probably need to shoot a little bit more closed down.
Yeah.
And light a little bit heavier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
play it a little more safe.
Right.
But favorite hand unit.
The HU3, the Preston HU3 is like a solid like go-to.
Yeah.
I've used the HU4 a few times.
You're not a high five
Um,
fanboy.
No, the high five's great. I've
I
only
am. I'm
used it a
obsessed
handful
with
of
it.
times.
Like if I
yeah.
can use it, I want it.
Yeah.
But
No, Aries great. Like I use the WCU4 pretty much on every job I've done the last like year or so. The only issue with the WCU4 is the frequencies. That's
Yeah, they go
where
out all
Preston
the time.
has their advantages.
Yeah.
But as far as like their features and ergonomics, like
the usability, I think, of the WCU4 high five is like
Yeah.
hands down the cleanest and easiest.
Don't
For
mix them
sure.
up though, because the high five doesn't have the same frequency issues that the WCU4
true,
does. Like the
yeah,
high
because it
five
has
is
the
like
two different modules you can
Yeah.
swap out.
Which the high
Completely
five is
different
the
world.
newer version of the WCU4,
Yeah.
which is what we're talking about. So like, yeah.
See again, this is
can
where
have three
Preston's
motors.
frequencies, because they bought them from the military, just
Right.
annihilates everybody else. Because everybody else is stuck within the 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth.
Well, and Charles and I have been debating this because eventually we want to get a hand unit, and I'm over here like high five. But what's the one you're liking right now? What's it called?
Oh, I mean, if you're gonna buy one, I'd buy a high five.
I know, but what's the one you were liking though?
For low end stuff, at the Teradek.
The Teradek.
Oh,
RT.
Teradek has a unit.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Um,
they've got
but
a
we're trying to
solid-
get out of the nucleus stuff or like the lower end stuff. Not a fan of nucleus with the new thing they came out with. We were at NAB last
Oh,
year.
Yeah.
The Nano 2 or the
Yeah.
USB-C, John.
They
Ugh.
were doing something with the Nucleus M. They like had something going for them. Low end, just hand unit, gets people starting in the industry, gets an AC, a
Limo
perfect
pin,
backup.
like, perfect,
Yeah. For a long time, they were talking about making basically a WCU4.
Yeah.
Well, that was the idea, right?
Yeah,
We go to NAB, we're stoked. We're about to talk to them. We're like,
Right.
we're going to pre-order this thing. And we walk up, and that's when the Nano was released. And Charles
It has a
literally...
screen. No, it has a screen. Don't worry, it has a screen.
Charles goes up to this poor lady who probably doesn't even work for the company. He's sitting there behind the booth, and Charles goes, "What is this garbage?" And she's like, "What?" And he goes, "How are we supposed to use this on set? This is like a toy." And he's like holding it, and like I don't know the exact
Snaps
words.
it.
But Charles is just like
piece of crap.
sassing her, and
And
she's
then like
"Well,
another guy comes over, and then like somebody else comes over, and I was like, "What are you guys making? Like USB-C crap?" You know, I was just like ripping them apart.
ripping apart.
Yeah.
Charles is like, "I don't. What camera has a USB-C? What camera has this? Why would you do this? If you're holding on your hand unit, how does this make any sense?" And all of them were just like,
Just stumped him.
and then we're like, "Yeah, we're not buying it." We like walked
Just
away.
walked away. I was like, "This is the dumb." I was like, because I said, "Are you going to
Tilt to
come
take
out
notes.
with an M, like a bigger thing?" And they're like, "Nope, this
Right.
is replacing everything." And I was like,
That's dumb.
"You're dumb." And then
Yeah,
turned around and
that's
walked away,
super
which I
dumb.
feel bad for being so rude, but like,
Well, no, I think it was
Well-
definitely justified because I think everybody in that sense is a little bit of a fanboy with that stuff in like the DSLR more videographer world, and I think at some point someone needs to be not someone specifically, but like
Yeah.
I think the industry at some point needs to be like,
That's feedback that they really need if they
Yeah.
want to be a competitor in the cinema
Yeah.
world. Like,
which is good because like 6 months later they announced a hand unit for the Nano,
a grip.
a grip
Yeah.
thing for it. Which okay, cool. They actually
Yeah.
listened. And then just maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, they announced that they're in developing an actual bigger unit.
oh, okay. Well, that's
Probably
good.
because no one bought the Nano.
We really gotta restructure our whole business now.
It's like the owner's son was there, and he's like,
I'm just like,
"Dad, we need to change."
Yeah,
It's
well, I forget how long ago, like 3, 4 years ago, they were supposed to come out. It looked like the WCU4, and I think they maybe got sued for copyright infringement.
I was
Oh,
like, I thought I
interesting. But they
saw
were-
something.
they were
I
supposed to
sent
come
it
out
to
with-
you. At
oh,
one
so
point.
okay, yeah. So before the Nucleus M and the Nanos that we know today came out, or 7 years ago, whenever the M came out, they actually had a full blown focus unit that was like the WCU4.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking
Yeah,
about.
so we're talking 10 years ago, right when Nucleus
okay.
was even a thing, or Tilta was even a brand new company.
Gotcha.
And so they came out with that, and the Nucleus actually uses the same motors from that system.
I see. Okay. Yeah,
But it
that's-
was too expensive, and they were a brand new company. And like 10 years ago, they're like Black Magic. 10 years ago, like nobody was buying Black Magic cameras because nobody knew who they were. Like they were a software or they were a live TV switching company. They made hardware. That's what I should say. They made hardware for computers. And so like you couldn't enter into the camera or film market that easily back then, and so they had to like develop their name and like build up stuff
For sure.
before they did it. And so they shelved that idea, and then they came out with, because I feel like that was like $5,000 or $6,000 for that unit. So they shelved it, and then they came out with the Nucleus M for $1,200, and
All I know
sold
is
like
I saw
hotcakes.
it and I thought they were coming out with it, and I sent it to Charles, and he's like, "Homie, look at the date," and it was like 7 years ago or something. I was like, "Yeah." Copy.
Yeah, no, they should go back to that. Like,
They should.
even $6,000, like compared to Preston and High Five.
They would,
Yeah.
they would have
prices, like-
destroyed
I
the
know.
market if they
For
would have held
sure.
on for like 5 more years with
Oh
it.
yeah.
so that's where I was
absolutely.
coming out with the
The
tear
Nucleus
deck.
M though held for like 7 years. I just want to say that
No,
it's
I
been on the
know.
market
I
for like
know.
a long time.
It has been, yeah.
So on Nucleus website right now, they have a survey that you can go take, and you can click on the things and say like,
Okay.
this is what's more important to me.
Oh,
And you
I'm
can
gonna
like
do
click
that.
on it, or you can add stuff. Like I added a bunch of crap to it.
Like random stuff that they don't do.
Ran
I need, like,
stu-
tilt the
stuff that they
bongo
don't
ties,
had, like no,
I was
no
so confused. I was
specific
like,
to
what?
to a follow focus hand unit,
Gotcha.
because they actually put it on their website or the
That'd be
Facebook
cool.
page, and they said, hey, like we are actually in developing of a new bigger hand unit for the Nucleus M.
Okay.
What are you guys' more priorities?
Well, then
What
why
is
would
your wish list?
For me,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not a first AC. I don't.
Well, I mean, you know the tech well enough.
No, I do. Lens mapping is the biggest
I
one.
was just about to say if they could
yeah.
come out with something with mapping and an actual readout on your hand unit.
Yeah. and no built-in batteries. The built-in
Yep.
like you have to be able to like pop out a battery and pop a new one in.
Oh yeah.
It can have a built like the High 5 has a built-in battery, so you can like hot swap, which is dope. Like that's awesome if that's what you're gonna do. But you can't have a
I think it's
hand
like
unit
10
that only
seconds
lasts
or
6
something.
hours a
That's quick.
day, and then you have to
Right.
plug it into USB to charge it. Like that's stupid. You need to be able to pop the battery out
Yeah.
and replace it.
How many motors do you carry? Does it one focus? You want iris? You want zoom? You want all 3 motors on that?
You have if
Yeah,
you're building
It's
it,
got
you
to
have
be
to
a
have
fizz,
three.
Yeah.
focus, iris, zoom,
Okay.
with an option for a 4th
Yeah.
for whatever.
Whatever else.
Yeah,
And
but
then-
at least focus, iris, zoom, because you can always pop the iris motor off and put it on like
For sure.
a rotary, like a
Yeah,
rotopolar or
rotopolar,
something like
yeah.
that. Kind of a deal,
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, but to
Three
be able to
motors is
lens map, that's where it's at.
Yeah. Readout matters a lot. I hear that. And then interchangeable batteries.
Yeah.
Those are all pretty good things.
Yeah.
So I want to know,
But-
kind of jumping around a little bit though. I want to know how much Graham had to pay you to come out to Utah in the middle of winter and work on a winter Utah movie from California, because you got it all. You came during the movie that we had overnights with snow. I think at one point it was like right?
Yeah, it got down to
it was
like negative
negative
3 when we were up at Solitude.
Dude, that was
one night.
cold up there that night.
That was cold.
Yeah, we had some camera cocoa going around. We had like literally our Ethan was freaking awesome. He was just bringing rounds of hot cocoa to keep us warm all night.
Nice.
No, like I've worked with Graham for a long time. We were roommates back in the day.
You and Graham were roommates?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He was one of the first DPs that I like consistently worked for, and yeah, we've been buddies for a long time. Yeah, I had never really spent much time in Utah, and coming out here, spending a couple months in the mountains sounded like fun.
How did Graham get roped into coming to Utah? I say roped in. It was fun.
Honestly, I don't remember because he did a movie before that out here. He did some other Netflix.
Did he?
movie.
Housewives.
Yeah.
He did Housewives out here. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew that.
I was like, I day played on that. What?
Is that staged?
What do you mean?
Real Housewives, right?
Oh,
Real
no,
Housewives.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That
Was it
wasn't
Real Housewives?
Were
Is that
they
what,
Real
is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
they're real.
Is that
Yeah,
the
it was
TV show?
Housewives. Yeah, is it?
Is it called Housewives or Real Housewives?
I don't know the name.
Housewives?
Real Housewives.
Salt Lake?
Yeah, Real
I have
Housewives
no
of
idea.
Salt
I'm
Lake.
just saying,
I don't
you were
watch that
asking about
crap.
reality shows and how scripted or not scripted they are, but it sounds like you've worked on one.
It
How scripted
fe-
was it?
I was only day playing, but it felt pretty. Not like scripted, like they didn't hand them a script, but it felt like they knew exactly what they needed to be doing in the moment.
That was a movie, or was it TV?
Well, the Netflix one you guys did, that was a scripted. What? I don't actually know what that was about because it was Was it
It's
a
all
Christmas
blending.
movie?
It's
it was
it was a Christmas movie. It was
the Real Housewives
Real
of the
Housewives
North Pole.
of the North
right?
Pole.
Oh,
Yeah, and they brought the housewives here, and they did a Christmas housewives special.
Oh, okay. Now, see,
all comes
it's all come together.
So they're like Hallmark Housewives Utah, and it worked
Okay.
great, and everyone
Okay.
loved it. No, that makes sense. Okay, that all clicked. That's how Graham got here.
Yeah. So he did that movie, and then Utah kind of sucked him in.
Cool.
He's been
That's awesome.
doing the movie. pretty
Utah
much
loves
every year out
Graham.
here.
Yeah, we love every time Graham comes into town.
What are like some of your biggest shows that you've worked on that you're stoked about or were stoked about?
I had a chance. I wasn't on it for very long, but I had a chance to work on Star Trek Picard.
Oh, cool.
That's dope.
They played C-Cam on that. That was
Good show.
probably, as far as like production value and like probably one of the most fun shows I've been a part
Oh,
of.
cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I only did like 2 episodes, maybe episode and a half
Okay.
on that.
Cool.
That was a lot of fun.
Cool. That's fun.
Did you get to go on the Enterprise?
Whatever,
question.
I don't know if it was the Enterprise, but whatever ship was part of that season.
You should have just said yes.
Like yeah, their sets are pretty amazing.
I don't think it was.
Like,
It's not the
they're-
Enterprise. It's some other ship. It was a good show. I watched it.
Okay, nice.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Charles loves Star Trek.
I do.
Oh yeah.
I love sci-fi.
Star Trek is awesome.
Are you more of
I wanna
a
shoot
yeah, we
Next
have a sci-fi-
Generation fan, or
We should get Chris involved on that. We have just this like fun project we want to do of a sci-fi film that we're
Okay.
like, let's get weird and dress up like aliens and film each other.
Dude,
Dope.
I need to
That'd
show
be
you
fun.
some stuff. That
What I just said brought that up.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, what is Charles about to say?
Joel's been working on.
I said we
stuff.
should dress up as aliens and film each other. And Charles goes, I got something to show you. Oh God. No, it'd be fun. We have like Caneville out here and all these like deserty places that look
Right.
like Mars and stuff. So,
Oh yeah.
Scotland Valley.
Yeah.
They shot the what was that film?
so we want to go play.
Rickman.
Galaxy Quest. Yeah.
Craziest, I want to know, because I feel like LA, you get bigger budget shows, you get bigger things out there for sure. What's the craziest thing you've experienced on set? For me, it was probably the Netflix show we did when they brought in all the snow and there's just so much money put into that cliff scene and all the stuff being built.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is like a big movie. What was that realization with you where it was like they spend a lot of money on set?
Probably Star Trek. Like just the amount of money and detail that goes into their set design. Like if I was gonna work any other department than camera, like art department, especially on a show like that, would be so much fun.
It would be so
like,
fun.
That would
because you're
be
creating something completely new.
Yeah.
Like something
Like, to be able to
otherworldly.
build a spaceship from the ground up, and you
Right.
can like do whatever you want to.
And you have a
Yeah.
budget.
That'd be pretty rad.
Yeah, having a budget like that,
Yeah.
especially like
Yeah.
And you could build out a team of your friends to like help you build it.
Yeah.
You
right.
actually have resources to make it as futuristic looking as you possibly
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Low key, little jealous of art department on some sets. Like Gonzo Girl, when they got to like decorate this whole cabin, I was like, they put a whole new floor in, like a whole old school 70s checkered floor, couches, everything. And I was like, all right, that'd be fun. Just go buy shit.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, we if you guys ever do a sci-fi, that'd be fun to work
you down?
on. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
So Chris said we can
It's
dress
gonna
him up like
happen.
an alien. He's gonna be our actor.
All right.
He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa! What did I sign up for?
No, I'll do it. I'm into that.
coming out of your head.
The first Alien vs Predator. Oh, that's awesome.
So what do you got coming up?
Not much. Maybe another movie. I don't want to.
You don't need to
I don't
spoil anything,
know.
but if you got some projects,
Well, I think we've all probably heard about it, but I don't know. I don't know if I should say until it's 100% because there's
Safer.
it's still up in the air,
Play it
so
safe,
it might
yeah.
not happen. We'll see.
we're gonna
But-
cross our fingers and play it safe, but we're on
Yeah,
the same
I don't want to
page.
jinx it.
Yeah.
Considering.
We're just hoping for some work. It's been a little slow right now in Utah,
Yeah.
and which is good, gives us downtime. But now we're all kind of itching.
Yeah, I am doing reshoots this week, or not reshoots, but
Pickups?
shooting new scenes, pickups for that movie Homestead that was shot here
Yep.
last fall.
Yeah.
They're still planning to turn it into a series.
Oh, cool.
I hope. Let's
Start
get some
shooting
more
this
stuff
fall.
going.
Yeah. So that would be nice to have a full-fledged TV series here in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Do we know it's like is Yo Gabba Gabba and those kind of things going out?
I don't know. I don't know if
We don't know.
I don't know if that's coming back or not.
Yeah, I know that they wanted. There were
Is that
talks
on
of
TV?
it,
Like,
but
is that out?
I don't think it's even come out
They
yet.
stream. Those are Paramount shows now.
Yeah,
Oh, they are.
yeah,
Okay.
but I don't think it's out yet.
See, that's the thing about Utah. It's like we get one of those shows and we're all like, blow up, give us
Yeah.
6 seasons.
Right. Yeah,
High
we-
School Musical and like Andy Mack and those things, like they really set some precedents and help Utah film so much.
Right.
We need a few more of those.
Yeah, I was hoping High School Musical would come back. That was
High
that was
School
a fun
Musical
show.
is so cool. I'm so
Done.
happy you got to work on that. They brought me in as a day player on a few days,
Yeah.
and it's cool because that was actually one of my very first jobs on season. What season was that?
Probably
Two?
two.
Out there in the Salt
When we
Flats
was that when we stopped for COVID? On the
before
Salt
COVID.
Flats?
Very first when you were gripping and you were laughing at me,
On the Salt Flats?
and I was a camera operator.
Oh yeah. Oh, on that episode. Sorry, we've
How
talked
long
about that
ago
a
was
lot. At the Salt Palace.
Salt Palace.
Salt Palace.
So
Yeah, that was season
1 or 2.
That was season 1 or 2. I can't remember.
Maybe
Maybe that was season 1.
But it's just what I'm getting at.
No,
is
that was
it's-
season 2. Season 2.
That's like how Charles and I, well, we met a little bit before that, but that's like how I kindled a lot of relationships in the feature film world. And it's cool to see like people kind of go through that like High School Musical world in that like Utah film.
Right. Yeah. Feels like everybody I've met here at least.
Everyone's had
Was
like a
on it for a-
season or
yeah.
has had something involved with High School Musical. I guess
Right.
that's what I'm trying to say. But
I mean, that's kind of the nice thing about Utah, and like, because we are such a small community. You know, when a TV show comes into town, like it sucks up quite a few people, and then it leaves all the other stuff for everybody that it doesn't suck up, right? And so then it's
Right.
just like if there's one TV show in town, then like literally everybody's working.
For
And I think that's kind of why we all want to have a TV show, and we have
It's well put, Charles.
for a long time. We had Touched by an Angel, and then we had
You had Yellowstone for what, 2 seasons?
Yellowstone
think?
for a
Yellowstone.
bit too. Everwood, we had Everwood.
Oh, okay.
I guess we
Here.
kind of have some though, like Horizon and things are like.
Yeah.
You see a
Yeah.
series of movies. I know, like the church always has episodic stuff going on. Book of Mormon, Bible,
For sure.
all that stuff. It's not
They did,
show,
yeah.
it's
They don't
episodic.
anymore,
Yeah.
but yeah. So
I would
it's-
love to film a movie out there. We have really cool sets in Utah that are fully staged of like.
Yeah, that Goshen set.
Goshen's
is
pretty
pretty
rad.
epic.
I would love to write a script for something out there.
pretty rad.
Well, we've had a blast having you on, Chris.
Thanks.
It's
No,
been
it's been a blast. Blast being here.
No, we need to do this more. We need to get you on a lot, get you talking about Utah things, keep people updated with what's happening and the new things that are going on.
Yeah, we try to bring people in for the first time and like get to know them, and then the next time we'll bring you on, then we'll like
Kind of deep dive.
we'll get personal.
Oh, we had-
videos that you usually like to do?
Instagram mainly. That's pretty much my only social media.
Cool.
But yeah.
Yeah, you'd love it. If you haven't listened yet, we did an episode with Chonky, and we talked about families
okay.
and having babies with
Oh, nice.
film, and it was awesome. It was
Oh,
just
cool.
funny stuff to personal stuff, and sometimes it gets deep.
I'll have to watch that one.
Sometimes.
Was the one you did
Just dumb.
with Chris Cope? Was that your most recent episode?
No.
episodes ago?
Yeah,
Okay.
probably
I got
3
tipsy on that
episodes.
one. Cope was like, "Yeah, let's have some whiskey," and the next thing you know, I'm like 3 cups of whiskey.
10
deep.
o'clock in the morning.
Dude, we finished that podcast, and I went up to Mur and I was like, "I think I'm drunk." She's like, "What?" It was
All right.
awesome.
Well, next time I'll bring a bottle of scotch.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We can
I mean,
open
I got
up.
coffee this morning. Alex had coffee in his cup, and then I had whiskey, and I was like, it's a rough morning. Your buddy's waking up. No, it's good. Good stuff. Well, we're happy to have you on, Chris, and
Yeah,
we'll make
Thanks for having
everything
me. That was
Yeah.
been fun.
Cool.
Yeah, bring me back anytime.
Sounds good.
Hopefully, we'll all be working here pretty
Yeah.
soon.
I was like,
and-
if
We
we
can
can,
talk
if we
about
can
our next
jump on a
movie.
movie or something, yeah, we could do a little podcast with some people involved on the movie and bring some people off
Yeah.
set onto here, and
yeah,
that'd be
be
fun.
dope.
Yeah.
We
Cool.
should do a live onset day.
we talked
Oh,
about
we've
We've
that.
talked about
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
we like, the goal genuinely would be if we could get this big enough with like a following. Obviously, with any following, people would want us there then.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
if we
that'd be
could
cool.
like build something to where like, yeah, we would love that. Like, come on set and like have a director, an actor, like. It'd be
Right.
so fun. So
No, I
if,
think
if
that'd
the
be a
views
big
keep
hit.
coming, you guys like and subscribe, and
Yeah.
maybe we can bring you on set.
Yeah, it's up to you, really.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks,
Cool.
Chris.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
It's been
Till
fun.
next time.
See you on the next one,
Thanks.
guys.
Yo.